Hi, my name is Emma Tyler, and this is my digital literacy narrative. I've loved books and loved reading from a very young age. My parents read aloud to me frequently. Because they exposed me to books at a young age, I became very interested in them and comfortable flipping through pages on my own. One of the most influential pieces of my early reading was a children's songbook and tape. I would listen to the songs and try to follow along with the words in the book. I was not yet reading, but my brain was making important connections that built the foundation for my literacy. Before I could read on my own, I would memorize books so that it looked like I was reading myself. This was important for my development of reading because I could follow along with what my mom or dad was reading on the page and predict what the next words would be. This contributed to developing sight words and fed my hunger to learn and read on my own. One book I memorized was Mr. Brown Can Moo. My dad would read this book to me every night, and he would let me fill in sentences and chime in with him. My parents were great at encouraging me to learn in this way. Because my parents made reading such a positive experience, I was able to read before I started kindergarten. I remember one of the first weeks of school learning vowels. I was so proud of myself because I already knew the vowels. I remember raising my hand and proudly reciting them. I believed I was a good reader, and because I believed in myself, this confidence pushed me to learn even more. At the beginning of second grade, my mom started reading the Harry Potter series aloud to me. I became fascinated with this story and couldn't stop reading them. My mom would read several chapters every night, but soon that was not enough for me. Even though these books were a little challenging to read on my own, I started reading them hungrily. I believe that this was the first time I took initiative to read. Reading was no longer something shared with my parents, it was something in which I could take ownership. Reading the Harry Potter series set me up as an independent reader and taught me to welcome challenges in reading. Soon after, I met my childhood best friend Rachel. She also loved to read, and reading became a friendly competition between us. Rachel was a better and faster reader than me, and I devoured book after book to keep up with her. Together, we both fell in love with the book The Call of the Wild by Jack London. We read it again and again and became fascinated with the wolves in the story. After school, Rachel and I would spend time at the library researching wolves. I had never read nonfiction books, and I learned how to appreciate them and glean important information because I was studying them on my own initiative and learning about something that I loved. However, in later elementary school and middle school, school became much more difficult. Reading started to be a chore and no longer a passion. Even though I once loved to read, I now did not have the time. I dreaded reading for class, and I no longer read on my own. I missed reading, but I no longer had the time to read for pleasure. When I was a sophomore in high school, my advanced English teacher, Mr. Pulcinelli, impacted my reading life greatly. He was a very intense man, and his class was extremely hard. However, he loved books, and he pushed us out of our comfort zone. Mr. Pulcinelli gave us a lot of hard books to read. During school, I looked forward to his class all day because of how passionate he was during class time. Mr. Pulcinelli awakened my forgotten love of reading. After his class, I challenged myself much more with difficult texts, and I appreciated books more than ever. Some of my favorite books that I've read recently include The World According to Garp by John Irving and East of Eden by John Steinbeck. Both of these books were challenging to read, and they show me that I'm constantly growing as a reader. Something that I love about both of these books is the careful detail and characterization. I love books that emphasize people over plot. Because of the way that Mr. Pulcinelli pushed me to grow as a reader and as a learner, I love to read again. I willingly choose books that I know will challenge me because of the positive experience that I had in his classroom. I've learned so much about the world around me and life itself through reading. I've decided to become a high school English teacher because I want to show high schoolers how to love reading like Mr. Pulcinelli showed me. Reading isn't an isolated skill, it is important for every aspect of life. I want to teach students to appreciate reading so that they can be lifelong learners in whatever path they take. Because of the hard work and patience that my parents put into teaching me to read, I know that individual guidance is critical for a student's reading ability. This is my digital literacy narrative. I hope you enjoyed it.